The graveyard was enclosed by a thick adobe wall, and at its four corners small stone angels tilted out their stony wings, their grimy heads capped with bird droppings, their hands gifted with amulets of the same substance, their faces unquestionably freckled. In the warm, smooth flow of sunlight, which was like a depthless, tideless river, Joseph and Marie climbed up the hill, their shadows slanting blue behind them. Helping one another, they made the cemetery gate, swung back the Spanish blue iron grill, and entered. It was several mornings after the celebratory fiesta of Dia de la Muerte, the Day of the Dead, and the ribbons and ravels of tissue and sparkle tape still clung like insane hair to the raised stones, to the hard carved, love-polished crucifixes, and to the above-ground tombs, which resembled marble jewel cases. There were statues frozen in angelic postures over gravel mounds, and intricately carved stones tall as men with angels spilling all down their rims, and tombs as big and ridiculous as beds put out to dry in the sun after some nocturnal accident. And within the four walls of the yard, inserted into square mouths and slots, were coffins walled in, plated in by marble plates and plaster, upon which names were struck and upon which hung tin pictures, cheap peso portraits of the inserted dead. Thumbtacked to the different pictures were trinkets they loved in life: silver charms, silver arms, legs, bodies, silver cups, silver dogs, silver church medallions, bits of red crepe and blue ribbon. On some places were painted slats of tin showing the dead rising to heaven in oil-tinted angels' arms. Looking at the grave images, they saw the remnants of the death fiesta. The little tablets of tallow splashed over the stones by the lighted, festive candles, the wilted orchid blossoms lying like crushed red-purple tarantulas against the milky stones, some of them looking horribly sexual, limp and withered. There were loop frames of cactus leaves, bamboo reeds, and wild, dead morning glories. There were circles of gardenias and sprigs of bougainvillea, desiccated. The entire village, or the entire floor of the yard, seemed a ballroom after a wild dancing, from which the participants have fled, the tables askew, confetti, candles, ribbons, and deep dreams left behind. They stood, Marie and Joseph, in the warm silent yard, among the stones, between the walls. Far over in one corner, a little man with high cheekbones, the milk color of the Spanish infiltration, thick glasses, a black coat, a gray hat, and gray unpressed pants and neatly laced shoes, moved about among the stones, supervising something or other that another man in overalls was doing to a grave with a shovel. The little man with glasses carried a thrice-folded newspaper under his left arm and had his hands in his pockets. "Buenos dias, señora y señor," he said, when he finally noticed Joseph and Marie and came to see them. "Is this the place of Las Momias?" asked Joseph. They do exist, do they not?" "Sí, the mummies," said the man. "They exist and are here in the catacombs." "Por favor," said Joseph. "Yo quiero ver las momias, sí?" "Sí, señor." "Mi español es mucho estúpido, es muy malo," apologized Joseph. No, señor, you speak well. This way, please." He led between the flowered stones to a tomb near the wall shadows. It was a large, flat tomb, flush with gravel, with a thin, kindling door flat on it, padlocked. It was unlocked, and the wooden door flung back rattling to one side. Revealed was a round hole the circled interior of which contained steps which screwed into the earth. Before Joseph could move, his wife had set her foot on the first step. "Here," he said, "me first." "No, that's all right," she said, and went down and around in the darkening spiral until the earth vanished her. She moved carefully, for the steps were hardly enough to contain a child's feet. It got dark, and she heard the caretaker stepping after her, at her ears, and then it got light again. They stepped out into a long, whitewashed hall 20 feet under the earth, dimly lit by a few small Gothic windows, high in the arched ceiling. The door was 50 yards long, ending on the left in a double door in which were set tall crystal panes and a sign forbidding entrance. On the right end of the hall was a large stack of white rods and round white stones. "The soldiers who fought for Father Morales," said the caretaker. They walked to the vast pile. They were neatly put in place, bone on bone, like firewood, and on top was a mound of 1,000 dry skulls. "I don't mind the skulls and bones," said Marie. "There's nothing even vaguely human to them. I'm not scared of skulls and bones. They're like something insectile. If a child was raised and didn't know he had a skeleton in him, he wouldn't think anything of bones, would he? That's how it is with me. Everything human has been scraped off these. There's nothing familiar left to be horrible. In order for a thing to be horrible, it has to suffer a change you can recognize. This isn't changed. They're still skeletons, like they always were. The part that changed is gone, so there's nothing to show for it. Isn't that interesting?" Joseph nodded. She was quite brave now. "Well," she said, "let's see the mummies." "Here, Signora," said the caretaker. He took them far down the hall, away from the stack of bones, and when Joseph paid him a peso, he unlocked the forbidden crystal doors and opened them wide, and they looked into an even longer, dimly lighted hall in which stood the people.